Sairam.
Sairam.
I think last week what we were discussing was that the three kinds of sadhana or paths which Swami referred to. One is the sattvic path, the other one is rajasic, the third one being tamasic. Swami gave us an explanation of how each kind of this path, margam as Swami calls it, what the characteristics of each of these paths Swami mentioned. That's where we were. And I think Swami is continuing to talk about it. I think so that we understand, because often we take up sadhana, including meditation, and we may not realize how we are progressing and in which path are we progressing. So we'll continue to read, please. Saira. Sairam, Sister Kalyan, you can read.
The three paths of meditation. There are three ways by which aspirants try to enter the path of meditation. The path of truth, Sattvika Marga, the path of passion and emotion, Rajasika Marga, and the path of ignorance, Tamasika Marga. The pure, serene, Sattvic path. On this path, one considers repetition of the name and meditation as a duty and suffers any amount of trouble for its sake. One is fully convinced that all this is just an illusion, so one does only good under all conditions and at all times. One desires only the good of all and is always loving toward all. One spends time uninterruptedly in the remembrance and meditation of the Lord. One does not crave even the fruit of repeating the name and meditation. One leaves it all to the Lord. The passionate, restless, Rajasic path. Here one craves the fruit of one's act at every step. If the fruit is not available, then gradually laxity and disgust overpower the spiritual aspirant, and repetition of the name and meditation slowly dry up. The ignorant, tamasic path. This path is even worse. The Lord will come into the memory only in times of danger or acute suffering, or when one is the victim of loss or pain. At such times, such a person prays and vows to arrange this worship, puja, offer this particular food, or build this kind of temple to the Lord. One will be calculating the quantity of food placed before the Lord, the tribute offered at his feet, the number of prostrations performed, and the number of times the shrine was circled, and ask for proportionate awards. For those who adopt this attitude in meditation, the mind and intellect can never be pure.
Okay, Sairam, just as I had mentioned about some of the discussion points from last week, Swami, we are reading this slide again. I think it will be a refresher. As we can see, Swami says in the first one, everything will be going well. In the second one, our intensity may dry up. And in the third one, Swami says, our mind and intellect can never be pure. So it's for each of us to decide how we want to pursue meditation or sadhana and derive the benefit. I will pause here. If anyone would like to share any thought or has any questions, please share.
Sairam, brother, yeah, last time I just mentioned to you that in the pure serene Sattvic path, Bhagawan is saying that one is fully convinced that all this is just an illusion. So one does only good under all conditions and at all times. Could you please dwell on this and discuss?
Okay. Anyone else also can share. I will just, maybe I will open it up first. If anyone would like to share any thoughts, please. Okay. Okay. So I will try to have a go up, and then the others can share their thoughts, please. I think Swami. I think Swami. Before that, what you have pointed out, Swami says three things. One is considers the name and meditation as a duty.
Yeah.
Okay. So he thinks we are born for the purpose of performing this duty. And so this is the most important duty. And even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells the real Atma Dharma is to attain God. Everything else is not duty. That's what he tells Arjuna. And then he says, you can suffer any amount of trouble for its sake. Because I think when we suffer in this world only, we get, we get troubled. Maybe someone did something to us, or some bad thing happened so that we could not perform our meditation. All this becomes hurdles. But then Swami says we should be convinced that all this is illusion, all this trouble and what this world throws at us, including sometimes even a distraction also can be an illusion, which can take us away from meditation. I think so. A person who knows the value and the importance and of this sadhana will never be swayed, because they know, I mean, I'm not going to waste my time on anything else. So once someone comes into that frame of mind, that person will always do good, because he will do good, or not because he likes others or he wants to do something to others. He thinks that is his duty. That is the only thing which will keep him in the path of sadhana, path of thinking of the Lord. So I think that is why a person will do good, because they don't think that they are doing good for others. They are doing good so that they are serving the Lord. So the attitude, I think, will completely change, because they only live for God, who is the only one who is real. Everything else is illusion. Once I think we come to that stage, then we will not bother ourselves with trying to find who did good, who didn't do good, what did they do us, what should we do in return. All that will not trouble us, I think. I think that's what Swami wants us to know. And I think it's also for a goal for us to try to travel towards, I think. And that's my understanding. But I will open it up for others to share their thoughts. Sairam. Thanks for the question also, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Sairam,
Yes,
all the hurdles, all the obstacles and interruptions, whatever they come, they are all illusions. Swami wants to tell us. They'll come and go. People criticize us, and sometimes we expect the fruits of our actions to be immediately given to us. All these kinds of hurdles are just there to distract us. One who realizes this distraction is not necessary for my dhyana, then he will be successful. That is what I think Swami is trying to tell us. Sairam.
Thank you very much, Auntie. Thank you.
Sairam, both of your comments make complete sense. So, just I just wanted everybody to make note of that. That's fully answered, actually. I too agree with that. Thank you for brother and Mani. Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else would like to share any other thoughts, please, or questions? Or
Sai Ram, I have a question here. Like Swami is describing about this path, and that dhyana is they could perform according to their nature, like whatever their gunas they have, like sattvic, rajoguna, and tamasic gunas. I'm trying to understand, like say Arjuna was. I am under the impression he was of rajasic nature because he was in the battlefield and everything, right? So how did he achieve that of but he was with Swami, with Krishna all the time, like the thinking of Krishna, and how did his mental status was could be combined to these kind of situations? Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, brother, thank you. So I will ask anyone else who would like to answer or respond to what Brother Arul has asked. He's asking about Arjuna, who seems to be of a rajasic nature, and what happened to him, and how did he win the grace of the Lord? I think this is the question.
I guess also related to that question is it necessary that some of the, like the sattvic guna is good and rajasic and tamasic are bad, or do we need all three?
Okay, it's a good question, sister. So maybe I will see Arjuna. Swami has spoken at length and written at length about this. Arjuna is actually predominantly a sattvic person. He is sattvic because for him Krishna was everything. I think that is proven from the fact, because even though he was naturally was born in a Kshatriya family, given to some rajasic activities, but fundamentally he was a very sattvic person only because of one reason. For him, Krishna was everything. Even though he may have not given Krishna the pedestal of Paramatma, even an avatar, for him the love which he was able to see coming from Krishna made him so devoted to him, Krishna. So the example I would say is, Swami said there are 2-3 things which made Arjuna qualified to even receive the Gita. The first thing we should understand is before the war, when Arjuna went to Krishna for help, when Krishna said, you can either have me or you can have my my forces, my entire armed forces you can have. But if you choose me, I will not fight. I will just be part of your side. I will not wield the weapon and take part in the war. And then Arjuna did not have any hesitation to choose Krishna. He did not even want the armed forces and his army. He didn't want it. So that itself shows the importance Arjuna gave to Krishna. For him, if I have Krishna, everything I have. That kind of faith he had. That's number one. Number two, even before the Mahabharata war, Swami says he wanted to test Arjuna once again. And Swami tells this story of Krishna taking Arjuna on a walk and pointing to a bird and saying, that is a peacock. Arjuna says, yes, that is a crow. And he says, yes. He says, it's a sparrow. He says, yes. And then Krishna says, why are you saying yes to everything which I say? Don't you have an independent, objective view of what it is? Then he says, Krishna, whatever you say will become right. So you can imagine that he had certain level of devotion for Krishna. Devotion to God is what grants sattvic quality. But in the war, just at the war time, before the war started, he started, he did not want to fight. The Vishada Yoga chapter of Bhagavad Gita talks about it. He became powerless. Even though Krishna was seated next to him, he felt that he cannot function, he cannot think. So at that point, Swami says he had fallen to the level of tamasic nature. So then Krishna scolds him. You are a disgrace to your dynasty and all that. He uses 3-4 words. Kashpalamidam, like that, Karpanya dosham, like that. There are a few things he says. So what happens? His Kshatriya blood starts boiling. So then Swami says he took him from the tamasic state to the rajasic state. Once he got to the rajasic state, he started paying a little more attention to what Krishna says. Then Krishna took him to the sattvic state and explained to him. And only at the end of that, then Krishna says, okay, Lord, I submit myself completely to you. I will do as you say. So that is to get to the point where we follow the Lord implicitly, I think we have to reach the state of sattvic state. That's what I understand. Brother Arulas, I don't know whether I answered the question, but I will open it up for others to share their thoughts as well. Sai Ram.
Thank you, brother. I like that answers. Thank you so much.
Anyone else?
Sai Ram, I have a question. I read somewhere that each person has all the 3 gunas in us, and sometimes one takes the better of the other. Is that so? Is it correct?
Auntie, as per, I think Brother Sivadas, I think he's nodding. Maybe you can answer, brother.
Yeah. Actually, all 3 qualities are in us because it is a Prakriti that exhibits these 3 modes. It is Prakriti. So that's body and mind, especially mind, body part. And no one can reach God's state either through tamasic nature or through rajasic nature. Everybody has to come to sattvic nature to reach the God state. And always, anybody, if he is a tamasic, if the most of the time, if the person is tamasic, he has to transcend tamasic nature and has to come as rajasic because there is no shortcut from tamasic to sattvic. As Brother Aruna explained in the case of Arjuna, and it is many times Bhagawan has said it, and so many others have said it. So people who are lazy, the tamasic, who are lazy, has to be active first. Then only they can come to sattvic nature, and even that will be transcended later on. That's a different case. So we have all 3 states in us, and sometimes one is dominant, sometimes other is dominant, as Sister said, others think dominant. But as we grow towards spiritual development, we will be always having sattvic. And the rajasic and tamasic should have been removed from us. That is how it's working. And also we have seen that earlier that even the sattvic nature has to be transcended before the real realization happens. And I am trying to answer this because even Kalyani asked this same question. Kalyani asked it and sister responded. So that's why my understanding. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Thank you. I understand that. So with our own effort and determination, we can cross over the bad qualities, isn't it? The other tamasic and rajasic.
With our own effort, yeah. That's yeah.
So we can.
Yeah. It is
Okay, thank
you. And also this tamasic can be conquered only through this food. Food is very, to come from tamasic to rajasic, and the food is the obstacle always. So the food has to be sattvic food in order to we develop sattvic nature. The food through the mouth and through the senses. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I would just like to add a little. Thank you very much, brother.
Yeah.
See, one of the things which Swami has said is generally human beings are given to tamasic nature.
Yeah.
So the rajas and sattvic is always not as active. That's why we have this prayer called Tamasoma Jyotirgame. So from tamas we have to go. So generally all human beings suffer from tamas. Even though in seed form the rajas and sattvic is there, generally tamas predominates. But then what happens if we progress to the rajasic state, the tamas is under check. And when we progress to developing the sattvic nature, rajas and tamas will still exist at the physical level, but they will be balanced. I will give an example which Swami has given. For example, sleeping is a tamas activity.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if a person is given to laziness and sleeping for very, very long time, that is tamasic nature. So that can be overcome by some activity so that sleep is kept under check. Then we get so active that sometimes we don't even rest. Okay, for that sattvic nature is needed. So what happens is when we develop our sattvic nature, the tamasic and the rajasic aspects within us will be put in a positive, expressed in a positive way. For example, all of us have to rest. That is a positive tamasic quality. All of us have to be active in this world, but not with aggression, not with stress, but we have to be just active so that the body is kept healthy and the mind is kept healthy. So by developing the sattvic nature, the rajas and the tamas are also transmuted into sadhana types. So if the sattvic is not developed properly, the tamas and rajasic will be a problem. This is also Swami has told. So he says just because God has created this, but we need to know how to balance this and develop the sattvic nature in such a way that the rajas and tamas are also, we are able to use them in a very productive way in our sadhana. And of course, ultimately, they will actually lose their effect and only sattvic nature will triumph. And only that can take us to the divine. And at that point, Swami says you need to even give up the sattvic nature because then, three gunas will not accept. This is also some understanding. Thank you very much. I hope it's so.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. God, Swami's blessings to both of you. It was a clear explanation. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Hi Ram. So it means that this is actually a path of evolution. You evolve from your introduction is through the tamasic path, and then you're evolving with the ultimate goal of getting to the sattvic path. I'm asking because as children, this is how we are exposed to the religion or to the spiritual. You go to you see the temple or you see a ritual, you look forward to, like now is Navratri going on. So you look forward to Navratri, you'll have, prasadam and sweets and all of that. That's how the children are kind of, at least my children, the prasadam is the only thing that seems to excite them. But it helps them come to the temple or come and so on. And even like I'm originally from Andhra Pradesh, and when I was reading this Tamasic Path, it just reminded me about Tirupati. It's unbelievable how many rituals you see in Tirupati. I don't know if many people are familiar. It's a temple for Lord Venkateshwara. It's on the top of 7 hills. From giving up hair also, that's one of the rituals that's very common, that people give up hair to God because hair is associated with ego. To like climbing, I'm one of those people too. I climbed the 7 hills and went. These are all also not necessarily easy. It's a lot of physical, mental, emotional strength you need to be able to climb the 7 hills and go up. But perhaps what's happening is at the back of the mind, you're always asking something for God. It's more for a desire to be fulfilled and some kind of transaction. But then I understand that it's from what I'm understanding is you're supposed to evolve from that and grow and develop into Rajasic and Sattvic path and then as you evolve, that phase becomes more dominant. So once you attain the Sattvic path, that should be your dominant state. Is that correct? Thank you.
Yes, sister. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's my understanding also, but I will open it up for others to come. Thank you. I think all of us, even how much ever we develop try to develop Sattvic, the tamasic tendency sometimes pulls us, because it's old habits die hard. But I think Swami wants us to be conscious of it and evolve. Thank you. Okay, Sister Kalyani, maybe we can move on.
Sairam, brother.
Okay, sorry.
I just have a question. Is it evolving from tamas to rajasic, rajasic to sattvic, or it's a state of mind of an individual?
See I see the Swami in the Telugu version. Swami has said, "Moodu rakamula," means there are 3 rakam, means 3 kinds, and then he uses the word dwaram, means entrance. So you enter the path of each of them. You can. So in the mind, I think there are 3 entrances. One is to the Rajasic, one is to the Tamasic, one is to the Sattvic. And until we enter, all of us will enter through the Tamasic without any problem. Means if you don't believe in God, then that's a different story. But once we start believing, we believe because we want something out of God. So we always, all of us enter, I think, to start with through the Tamasic door. But then one day we realize, oh, we have come into the wrong room, or then we have to come out and then we have to enter the next door. And then also we go and say, oh, this is where we are ended up. Then we may have to come out and then enter the Sattvic door.
Okay, thank you.
This is the way I understand. But God has created this house of 3 rooms. But we need to know which room we have to go to get what.
Okay, thank you so much.
And that's my understanding, Simon. So if you want to call it evolution, it is evolution. If you want to call it category, it's category. But Swami has used Moodu Rakam. I think that's what Swami has said. Sai.
So, Sairam, brother, for my understanding also, I'm going to put my input also. For the meditation, only Sattvic mode only you can control the mind. You can steady your mind and you have the discipline. So in order to, the ultimate goal, if you want to achieve some level in the meditation, you have to be in the Sattvic mode. Then you have the discipline, your mind will be controlled. In other state, you don't have the control on the mind. So the best thing is a Sattvic. Thank you, brother.
Thank you very much for that. Okay, Sister Kalyani, I think we will move on.
Most people now follow only the passionate, restless, rajasic and dull, ignorant tamasic path in repeating the divine name and meditation. However, the very intention of repeating the divine name and meditation is to purify the mind and the intellect. In order to achieve this, the first path is best: pure, serene, sattvic meditation. When the mind and the intellect become pure, they will shine with splendor of the understanding of the Atma. He in whom this understanding shines fully is called a sage, Rishi. The knower of Atma becomes the Atma itself. Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. The goal of life, that which makes life worthwhile, is the understanding of the Atma, or, in other words, the basis of the individual's soul, Jiva.
Thank you very much, sister. I think Swami has answered, I think, maybe many of our questions very nicely. And then Swami also makes mention of what the real goal of life is in the last sentence, which I thought is understanding the Atma, who we really are, the basis of the individual soul. That Swami is the goal of meditation. And I think there's nothing much for me to add at this point. If I will open it up for anyone to share your thoughts, please, Saira.
Sairam, brother, not that I want to distract that conversation or the way that that we are reading this scripture, but I have a question. Say, like I think that the penance is much greater effort than the meditation. So the kings and even Ravana and many kings, what they have done is they did through this penance, they have achieved, they got some rewards, or like whatever the astiras or whatever it is from the god. How did the mental status for them then? That have they achieved that sattvic nature, or were they in that still in the rajasic nature? How that played there, Sairam?
Thank you very much, brother. Good question. I will open it up for others to comment, because it's a very good question. Because we can be any one of those also. So I will ask brother, anyone else? Brother?
Sairam, actually, it's a very good question, and it's always lurking in my mind. That those people like Suravatman and Ravana, Kiranyasipu, and all these people had a strong intention, a goal to achieve through this tapas means meditation, chiefly meditation. So they had the intention of getting benefit or grace or boon from the Lord, and it was achieved. And I think even now it could be achieved if anybody has any worldly aim, like that of Suravatman and Ravana and Kiranyasipu. So they are not reaching the state of godhood. No, they are coming back to the world again. And in the Kiranyasipu, the Prahlada's father, he did a lot of tapas, and even the anthill grown over him, but with an aim. So he had a rajasic, these people had a rajasic attitude, and the request, or their request to get it from God. But that what here Baba is speaking is to attain the peaceful life in this world, and the real aim of life, and real way of living, and finding our truth, find the truth of ourselves, and we are the Atma, but we have to find out that Atma, that we are the Atma, and it is chiefly through meditation that is possible. That's what Bhagawan is saying. So according to what I am saying is that's true that they had a rajasic attitude in doing that penance or the meditation or this. That's what my understanding. Thank you, Saira.
Saram, anybody can do the penance because they are taking that weapon as God's names. They are always chanting the God's name at the time when they are doing the meditation of penance. So when they are doing that meditation of penance, then they are chanting the God's name. They are clearing everything, the bad thoughts and deeds from them, and they are getting pure. And their mind, thoughts, words, deeds, and minds, and everything's impure. That's why they are achieving the God's grace, I guess. That when that Ratnakara was, when he was a thief on his when we were starting, then after that he became a big rishi, This way they achieve that. They are using the God's name and achieve that goal, I guess. This is my opinion. Thank you, sir.
So, Sairam, so in Mahabharata too, Arjunan wants to do the meditation to get a weapon from Lord Shiva, and he did that tapas, even though the 5 elements were against to him. The determination was there to achieve the goal, and he achieved the weapon from the Lord Shiva. That's what he got the name also Dhananjayan. So the determination, faith is important. Thank you, brother. Sairam.
Thank you, brother. Anyone else would like to? Maybe I will share some comments. Yes.
Sairam, so in now, based on Brother Sivada's comment that they can achieve something from Rajasic meditation too, that's what they're trying to say. In any meditation, you can get it, Saira. I'm trying to understand. Thank you, Sairam.
Let brother say that, because please don't take anything my words as true, but that's my understanding only. This. Okay, brother, go ahead.
No, it's not brother's word, but my understanding based on what Swami has said. For example, in each of these paths, you can achieve what you want to achieve. Meditation will give you whatever. For example, if even in this world, leave Ravana. If I want to make money and that is my goal, what people meditate on money and you become rich. If you want power, you meditate on power, you will become rich. Means you focus all your efforts on that. That is the way this world is designed. So people like Ravana and the Rakshasas, which we talked about, they wanted a certain goal. They really didn't want God. They wanted something. And they prayed hard because Swami says this Trikarana Shuddhi becomes very, very powerful when we want to do something negative. When we want to harm people, our thought, word, and deed will all synchronize so well that we will achieve. But when we want to do something good, we have a problem in thought, word, and deed coming together. So here the thought, word, and deed come together, whether you are a tamasic person or whether you are a rajasic person or a sattvic person, you will achieve what you want to do. But generally, bringing all three together for sattvic purposes is very, very tough or difficult, or people find it difficult. So talking about, I will just give 3 examples. There are all the Rakshasas which we discussed. In my understanding, they were tamasic personified. Even though they had a lot of rajas, they were ultimately tamasic individuals. But then I will come to rajas. The best example for a rajasic rishi, Swami has used the word rishi, is Vishwamitra. It's a story, maybe it's a little extended, but I hope you all don't mind me talking about it. So Vishwamitra was a king. Kaushika was the name of the king. Once he went to Vasishta's ashram, he was fed sumptuously. For him and the army, the Kamadhenu which was there fed him. And then he wanted the Kamadhenu for himself. So he asked Vasishta, and Vasishta said, Kamadhenu is here because on her own will, if he wanted to ask her, he asked, she didn't come. Then he tried to take it by force, take the cow. And Kamadhenu produced a lot of people who fought and killed everyone in Kaushika's army. So Kaushika was very, very upset. He thought Vasishta did this, and he fought with him again and again, and he even killed the 100 sons of Vasishta. That's a story, Puranic story. And then he could still not kill Vasishta. So he felt he has to compete with Vasishta and become a rishi. So he took up penance to become a rishi. But because he had this rajasic nature that he wanted something, he was always called the Raja Rishi. And so then he wanted to become a Brahma Rishi, which is the sattvic nature. But unfortunately, the fellow could not cultivate the sattvic nature. So what happened, once he was so fed up that no one is calling him Brahma Rishi, and that Vasishta is, if Vasishta calls him Brahma Rishi, he will become Brahma Rishi. That's also not happening. So one day he went to kill Vasishta. He was hiding behind the bushes, waiting for a good time to kill him. Because before he was fighting, using warfare, the rules of warfare. But on that day, he thought, I'm going to kill him, hide and kill him. When he was hiding, somebody was asking Vasishta about Vishwamitra, Kaushika. Then Vasishta said, he is a great rishi. He has achieved so much, and he was there praising him. So Vishwamitra, from his hiding place, he heard Vasishta praising him. He threw the knife he was carrying, dagger, and he ran and fell at the feet of Vasishta and told him, please pardon me. Because he knew Vasishta, who was all-knowing, was still knowing that he is going to kill, was praising him. He just couldn't bear. He fell at him and said, you please pardon me. I am so ignorant. Then, because he developed what's called humility, then Vasishta picked him up and said, don't worry, you are a Brahma Rishi. And from that day, he sacrificed his life for the welfare of the world. Because he sacrificed himself for the welfare of the world, he got the name Vishwamitra. Means the friend of the universe is Vishwamitra. So there we can see Swami has talked about this. So that is a Raja Rishi who had a Rishi. He achieved a lot. He could even create an entire different universe called Trishanga Swargam. But he had that much power. But he could not cultivate the sattvic quality. And one day when he was able to develop the sattvic quality, he became Brahma Rishi. So I thought I would just mention. So any of these paths, qualities, will take us somewhere. But they will not take us to God until we go through the sattvic path, which is what Brother Sivadas nicely explained. But I thought I would tell these stories, these examples.
Thank you very much.
So actually then we should not think it happened only in Puranic days. Even if we go to our center or organization, there are people with different qualities coming to the center. Some people will say, I want a position, I want the power. These things will come because we have our tendency. All of us may fall, and unless we check ourselves, unless we reflect, these qualities sometimes predominate. So we have to look at our own sadhana. And when we come together with people, which quality is predominating? I think it's a question we have to ask. And so I thought so we should not think it's only to the Rakshasas and Vishwamitra. We have to also evaluate. Why are we going to the center? Are we going to the center to see Swami and achieve him? Or are we going to do, a grand performance, or, so that, we have a position? All this can come. And these are big temptations and traps in the path of spirituality. So I think that's why Swami has already said, the sattvic path, somebody will know all this is illusion. All this is illusion. The only thing which is real is Lord. And I think that Swami wants us to understand. So we should know that, we have to practically apply these principles, because all of us could, At least I am just thinking of myself. We could fall into this trap, and different gunas pulling us in different directions. Sai Ram.
So, brother, can you relate Vishwamitra to Gayatri Mantra?
Yeah, so this is what happened. Vishwamitra discovered this Gayatri Mantra, which he wanted to keep it for himself. See, first of all, we should understand, he is a Kshatriya.
Yeah.
Okay. But a Kshatriya, he wanted to become a Brahma Rishi. And he discovered Gayatri Mantra. And with that, he could do wonders. With that only, he could create the entire universe.
Yeah.
But what happened, he was not sharing because he thought he will have it and he will use it and become great. But once he became a Brahma Rishi, he said the entire universe should benefit from that. And he shared it with everyone.
Okay, thank you.
And so that because of that, he was called the friend of the entire universe. He did not want to keep it for himself. So even though he was a Kshatriya, he discovered this mantra. Now today, even Brahmins, everyone uses Gayatri Mantra for initiation. So that's the story of Gayatri Mantra.
Thank you.
I will stop at this point.
So thank you very much, brother, for your explanation and everything. Very nice. So I like the second line. However, the very intention of repeating the divine name and the meditation is to purify and mind and the intellect. So that means if you are rajasic or tamasic, not to worry. Just if your mind is not controlling, not to worry. Just meditate on the name. It will control you. It will bring the mind and the intellect purified. Time to come, you will be okay. That's why stay on the name of the divine name. It will clear everything. It will bring it to the right path. Thank you, brother.
So
Sai Ram. This is Aku auntie.
Yes.
The last two sentences of the passage, when the mind and the intellect become pure, they will shine with the splendor of the understanding of the Atma. This is what the Gayatri Mantra's essence is?
Yeah.
I think, the Gayatri Mantra is capable of doing that. If our intention is, I think, right. I think the word intention is very important, because what happens, they will also, even if we with the tamasic, rajasic tendency, if we think of God, one day our mind and intellect will be purified. But the process will be very, very bad or very torturous. That's what I would say. See, most of these Rakshasas we mentioned, they thought of God. For example, Shishupala, Kamsa, all of them were thinking of Krishna. Let us take Shishupala and Kamsa. Once they knew that Krishna was around, they were continuously thinking of Krishna. But the intention was not good. So because of that, until they died, their mind was not pure, the intellect was not pure. But because they did that sadhana so intensely, they were all killed by Krishna. And the story is that the light from their body merged with Krishna. So the thing is, even if you do that kind of sadhana, you hate God so much and you think of him all the time, you are still repeating the name and you are meditating on the form. But the intention was very sattvic or rajasic or tamasic. That will not allow the mind and the intellect to be pure, which I saw in the previous paragraph. Swami is telling the mind and intellect will not be pure. If you take the rajasic path, the last sentence Swami says, your mind will not be, intellect will not be pure. I think, Sister Kalyani, can you just go back once? I think that's what Swami says. Okay, so the tamasic, if you see the tamasic, for those who adopt this attitude of meditation, the mind and intellect can never be pure. If you want some other goal, so okay, you can go forward. So Swami has already mentioned. So the thing is, if you don't manage our qualities of tamasic, rajasic, and sattvic, the mind and intellect will not be pure until God has to come and do something. So if you take Narasimha Avatar, where Hiranyakashipu was killed, all these were killed by God because they were intensely hating God and thinking of Him all the time. So the mind was purified at the end, but it was not a very pleasant experience. And fortunately for them, at least they had that kind of intense hatred for God. I think the problem is when we neither hate Him too much nor we love Him too much, then our problem is somewhere, neither here nor there. Okay, Saira.
Saira.
Okay, shall we move on? I think.
The need for bodily and mental training. There is a close mutual relationship between the attitudes of the body and the attitudes of the mind. So, people's inner feelings will be evident from their physical bodies. The stance and the appearance of the body helps us to discover these feelings. Take one example. With the loins girded, the sleeves of the shirt rolled, and the palms rounded into fists, it is not possible to exhibit love or devotion. With bent knees, the eyes half closed, and the hands raised up over the head, with the palms joined, is it possible to show one's anger or hatred or cruelty? That is why the ancient sages used to tell the spiritual aspirant that it is necessary during prayer and meditation to adopt the appropriate bodily pose. They saw that it is possible to control the waywardness of the mind by this means. Of course, for their expert spiritual aspirant, meditation is easy in any pose. But for the novice, such physical means are essential. This bodily and mental training must be undergone only to be later discarded as but a means to attain the true and eternal Atma. Until this is realized, spiritual discipline has to be consistently practiced.
Sairam sister, thank you very much. I think there is nothing I have to say here. I think Swami says the posture is very important until you come to a point in time. So I will open it up for any discussion or comments people may have. I think it's sometimes people think this all external facade. They say you can't judge a book by the cover and all that. We should not give too much external. But Swami gives the relevant level of importance to our external appearance. He has been very persistent in telling that, and because he thinks it has an impact on who we are inside, who we become inside. So I think that's why Swami is stressing on that. But there was a question from a few people who said that we are unable to do Padmasana because of our age, our physical condition. So what's our lot? But I think to the extent possible, we can still, have a disciplined posture, which I think is necessary for meditation. So that's my personal view. I will open it up for any discussion.
So, Sairam, brother. So, some people think for the meditation and for the spiritual life, when we do the service is enough. But in order to achieve the meditation goal, so that means you have to sit down, some kind of posture, you have to start, move on. Yeah, am I right, brother? Can you put input some information regarding that?
Yeah, I will first open it up for a discussion where if others can share their thoughts. Is seva enough and is meditation is required? I think this is the question from brother. I think excellent question. Because many people say, I am cut out for different sadhana path, and this doesn't interest me and things like that. Yes.
Sairam, actually, it's a very good question, and everybody, all of us have always a confusion about that. After we have succeeded in meditation, Baba is saying that you have to go to the world and serve them. The meditation will prepare the necessary qualification for the service. That is one aspect. That is the end aspect. But in the beginning, also Bhagavan said, in every way I said that for the purification of the mind, the service activity is one of the most powerful means. As well, meditation also, Bhagavan said, it is for the purification of the mind. Even in the Gita, it is reiterated. So everything we undertake is for the purification of the mind. But service, if the service is enough, Bhagavan will not be speaking about meditation everywhere and even writing a Vahini. So using through Seva, let us get purified, then come into meditation aspect, and let us get successful in meditation. Then once, as yesterday we discussed, once we become a Bhakta mirror or Jivan Mukta mirror, whatever it is, or Bhakta mirror, then we will be shedding light to the brethren, to the people around. So either way, the service is before and after. Even prior to meditation, we have to do service. In after the meditation also, we will be serving the people, because Baba never said, or even others said, even Swami Vivekananda was saying that your aim is whatever the meditation or whatever it is, you have to serve the people, because otherwise what is this religion and everything. So that's what I understand. So service is not enough, and meditation is a mandatory. That's, I think you get my point. Okay, so that's my understanding. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, brother. Anyone else would like to share with us?
Sairam, somewhere I read that if you do the service with wholeheartedly, that pure-heartedly, and doing the service not expecting nothing, that selfless service, then it's doing that service to God's name. At the point, Swami come and pick your hand up and take you on a flowers, rose flowers on path. I will take you that heaven. Swami says that on the words I read somewhere. If you do the service properly, that's what I heard. I was straight in somewhere.
Sairam.
Sairam, brother, there is something on the chat. Brother Sitaram has said, answering this question, Seva without meditation is like driving car without
Sairam,
experience.
I think both are equally important. As you do selfless service, you become.
Sairam Balanti, I think you got cut off. Sister Dushi?
Yes, Brother Sitaram has answered this on the chat. He said, Seva without meditation is like driving car without experience.
Sairam?
Sairam, yeah. Go ahead, sister.
Can I speak, please?
Yes, Auntie, yes.
Oh. I think both are equally important.
Okay, thank you.
So, Sairam brother Sitaram says, Seva without meditation is like driving car without experience. Seva with meditation is driving
I
car
think
with
both are important. As you do selfless service, your mind becomes purified.
Okay, I think Auntie has said selfless service is important. Both are important, and selfless service also grants purification of mind. Please complete. I think, are you done, Sitadushi?
No, not yet. So I'll read again. Seva without meditation is like driving car without experience. Seva with meditation is driving car with understanding or experience. Both take to
The
destination,
selfless
but
service makes you purify yourself.
I think Auntie's having some challenges with the equipment.
yeah, I think she cannot hear us. So
I think her internet connection may be poor, so that's why she doesn't know what's going on.
yeah.
Okay, just read the last sentence.
Yeah. So it's both take to destination, but the peace in latter is very tempting and not to be missed. So start driving with license for peaceful journey, Saira.
Anyone else would like to share any thoughts, please?
Swami also started with his 9-point of code of conduct. Also start with the meditation. Then only you can calm down and do a service with our selfless service. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, sister. Very good. Anyone else? I think
Sairam.
Yes.
Sairam, may I say something?
Yes, brother.
Okay. My question is, there are 4 margas like Bhakti Marga, Karma Marga, Jnana Marga, Yoga Marga.
I think for meditation you need 4. Go on.
No, Auntie, finish. I think. Okay, brother Arul.
Okay. I mentioned those 4 the ways of realizing the God. So why that is different? Because each of them, according to their own, I don't know the right word to use, the capacity, or it depends on their nature or the gunas or whatever it is, and they choose different paths to realize the God. So why the end of that purpose, the end goal is to realize that the Jiva and the Paramatma are one, like me and the God is one, like the individual that I am and he is one. Then why this is kind of sort of a difference here? Like I don't understand that.
Thank you very much, brother. See, okay, I think, see, the thing is, Swami has spoken about it. I think we did even a study circle on these margas, I think a couple of years ago. Swami, I think, I don't know whether brother, I think both will be added. See, Karma Marga, Jnana Marga, Bhakti Marga, or Raja Yoga, whatever you want to call it. All these, Swami says, are not necessarily different. Swami says, if you take a flower, somebody will pay attention only to the smell. Somebody will pay attention to the colors and how it looks. Somebody may just like the texture of it. But all of them are feeling the same flower. So sadhana is similar to that. You have a flower, which is sadhana, but some people are just focused on something. But the thing is, the flower cannot exist without the colors or the texture. It's all one. So the same way the margas, even though we may perceive it as different, sadhana is only one. But so when if anyone says I am following Jnana Marga, not Bhakti Marga, then that means they have not understood that it's a flower. The sadhana is one whole, and it has 3-4 dimensions. That's all. So if you take seva, the seva also can be categorized into these 3 categories: tamasic, rajasic, sattvic. So people can be doing, we can say we are doing seva, but we may be doing seva because someone else is also coming, or if the people think that I am doing seva, or the people who are recipients of seva are saying, oh, you are doing good seva. But only the seva will become a purifying agent when we are serving only because we serving Swami, serving God. Otherwise, there are so many social service organizations in this world. Why is not everyone becoming a rishi? There is so much selfless. They may consider it as selfless. They will say we are selflessly serving, because they may be sacrificing some comfort, sacrificing money, and so on. But then why is not everyone becoming a rishi? Because unless you take up service as an offering to the Lord, your mind will never become pure. This is my understanding. So even when we say seva, the attitude with which we go and do seva, whatever, even if it's a small little seva, is very, very important. Only when the attitude is so sublime and the mind is meditating on the Lord, because you don't have a choice. If you're only serving the Lord, your mind should be thinking of the Lord. The mind will be chanting the name of the Lord, and then you'll be doing work. But the thing, you may not say that I'm doing meditation. You can say I'm serving the Lord. This is why Pada Sevanam is one of the Bhakti Marga paths in the 9 types of devotion. Pada Sevanam means serving the Lord. How do you serve the Lord? By serving the world, you are serving the Lord. Swami will say Manava Seviya, Madhava Seva. But when you are doing the serving of the people, you should think you are serving the Lord. So as soon as that comes, then that becomes a sadhana. So that means the real seva is done with meditation. Otherwise, it will fall under the category of either rajas or tamas or something. Because all our friends are going and doing service, so let's also go and do service. Or we have to, it's a mandatory thing that everyone has to do seva, we will go and do seva. Or some people do seva so that they can put it on the resume, say I did service, so they can get a job. So variety of reasons people do seva. But if it is a spiritual seva, meditation is integral part of that seva, is my understanding. But other brothers and sisters have also shared their thought. So I think if we are doing seva, we should do with meditating on the Lord. Sai Ram.
So thank you very much, brother. When you do the service with the meditation, it's a very good thing. Do you have to sit down at home, whatever we read here, with the poster and everything? That whether is it important to do that one every single day? Can you explain that one, brother Sai Ram?
Maybe I will go at it first. Others can share. So, for example, brother, if you want to drive a car, okay, you will go to a place where there's no traffic. You may go to a school parking lot and learn, because Sitaram has already given the driving example, I will say. So first you have to practice where there's no crowd, there's no traffic. Once you master, then you can drive on the busy street. So you cannot do meditation while doing seva unless you have sit and practiced and trained the mind to do meditation. So even if you want to take up seva, meditation, learning seva with meditation, you have to learn meditation separately, sitting down in the morning and cultivate that ability of the mind to focus. That's why Swami in the next second paragraph, he says, of course, for the expert spiritual aspirant, meditation is easy in any pose. So just the way for an expert driver, he can drive anywhere, with a highway or with very errant drivers, any traffic can drive. So if before you take up seva, the respected sister Aruna has already said in 9-point code of conduct, the first one is daily japa and meditation. So for sadhana, this is an integral thing. That is why Swami has written a Vahini. Swami has not written a Vahini on seva, but Swami has written a Vahini on dhyana. I mean, dhyana means not sit. Actual dhyana is not just sitting. That is only practice. But once we achieve some mastery, then we should be able. Then we can employ it everywhere, and we can do meditation anywhere. But that is the ultimate goal. But for that, we have to practice. I think that is my understanding. But I will open it up for others to discuss. Saira.
Thank you very much, brother. It's a very good explanation. Thank you.
Sairam, I think today is a great discussion. Thank you very much, Sairam.
Sairam, Swami says several places that if you are doing your duty or work, do it on my name as a meditation. This is equal to meditation, that you are doing the duty as high level. That means that this serving to the God. That means that this is considered as a meditation. Swami says that. And also that, saying about Hanuman, he's always thinking about Rama and do his works. That's where he went to that high level, no? That he's in for the meditation and get the friendship.
Sairam, but Hanuman is God before his birth, no? I said that in his previous birth he was something. So he born as an enlightened person. So
Sairam,
yeah.
Sairam, Shiva. Hanuman was the 11th avatar of Shiva.
That is also said, avatar of Shiva, some aspect of Shiva, and also some other things I said about it. So he's born and self-realized. So that's a different case.
No, the Hanuman born from the stolen payasam, from that Jagam, he got that payasam. The one was from that stolen by that eagle, no?
Yes.
She thought somewhere that got the mother, Hanuman mother, and she trying it and got born that Hanuman.
Okay, thank you.
That way is that.
Yeah. Thanks.
Sorry.
Because the reality is, anyone who is ascending to the divinity must have done sadhana at some birth. So each time we progress, I think Hanuman must have reached a certain stage, as Brother Siva said. But that shows the path which has taken. He must have worked on it. And as Brother Rajagopal nicely said, he is considered the best karma yogi by Swami. And name of Ram was, you can't even, every hair was chanting Ram.
That's true.
That he's a very excellent example, brother. Thank you very much. It's 4:45. I think we were meditating on Swami so much on the topic, the time just flew past.
For the very short, I will just wanted to say about Arul's question about these markas, no? That even Bhagawan has said that Saloha, Samiva, Saruva, Sayuchya, those 4 paths give 4 different stages of liberation, and so the advancement. So the final, the merging with Lord is above all these margas. So But Brother Arnold's explanation is very, very good. Bhagawan said that's good. And from the point of view of other religions, other concept of other people, also we can say that all margas are not taking straight to the Lord, only level by level, step by step. So that way also we have to see that difference. Okay. Thank you, Sairam. Time is up. I don't know.
Yeah, Swami has used the word, one is a bullock cart, one is just walking, one is through train, one is a flight.
Yeah.
Swami has different modes of transportation,
yeah,
and how they take us or something. So,
yeah, also Swami said the bullock cart and that train is safer than the flight.
yes.
Yes, Swami said that too.
Okay.
So,
Thank you very much. So we will close, I think it's 4:46. I think it's time up. So we'll close with Samasta Loka and Shanti. We didn't discuss much, I guess, but I hope it was okay. Many participants were silent, so I hope they're not disappointed. Saira. We'll close with Samasta Loka and Shanti. Saira. Om Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sai Ram.
Sairam. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.